Look, it's been a crazy, crazy few days again. Look, you all. I've warned you all about the effects of what's going on in this country, and I have been attacked relentlessly for it. Yet I continue to tell you exactly what is happening. I continue to tell you exactly the situation that we find ourselves in. So I am broadcasting again from the temporary studio. This is the best I can get camera angle wise. I'm down here. I'm a little guy, right? I'm a little guy. So you're going to have to deal with the fact that it's like that. I'm undercover. I am undercover. I'm a full-blown tanky, full-blown parasite, right? Full-blown tanky parasite. My t-shirt, it's backwards because I don't know how to flip it on the thing. It says, "I'm not a terrorist. I'm just a bearded man." W bearded man, W parasite, right? So we are back, and I continue to receive a lot of like hate online and all these people. And the thing is, right, I put out a tweet this morning and I said, if you disagree with my politics, fine, but give me a reason why you disagree with my politics. You know what happened? Nobody had a reason why they disagreed with my politics. They simply just were like, fuck you, you're homeless, fuck you. That was it. You bitches can't win. You can't do anything about it. This is what I keep saying. There is nothing that you can do. You don't have any arguments against me. You don't have any reason against me. You just don't like me as a person. So you're going to be like, this guy's a fucking Nazi. Fuck him. But you can't even define what my political ideology actually is. That video I did the other night, I put it online this morning, and I said, "Watch this. Tell me what's radical in it." Everyone that responded with something like "fuck you, you're a Nazi," they were like, "Yeah, I didn't even watch the video. I don't need to watch the video." Well, then how are you going to get anywhere? How are you going to understand my political ideology if you're not going to watch the video? How are you going to, like, you're so full of hate. You're so full of hate. You just hate everybody. I'm like, if you watch the video, I actually say the opposite. I say, I hate nobody. Not a single person do I hate. I'm not a terrorist. I'm just a bearded man. When you're arguing with the ideological retards, when you're arguing with the people that are so disaligned with you that nothing you say will ever bring them to your side, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Like, they're never going to want to be a part of your team. They're never going to want to hear what you have to say because they're just going to ignore it. That whole spiel I did about the Acts of Union in 1707 and going on about what it is to be British, they just ignore it. They're like, nah, fuck you, you're a racist, you're a bigot, fuck you, we don't want to hear that, fuck you. That's it. And then they wonder why we're getting more motion. Hugh might be trying to actually put the definition of our ethnic group back into the reality of this country, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it, so they just get mad. They say, "Kill yourself." I've been told. In all fairness, I think some people have actually messaged me, some of my close friends, and they've gone, "Hugh, how have you not just offed yourself by now?" And I go, "Game's the game. If you're going to be involved in this kind of line of work, you just got to deal with it. If you give in to the attacks and the opposition, and if you just delete your account and go offline and never respond to anything, can just disappear into the abyss, well, then what do you prove? You just prove you're a pussy. Stand on business. Don't back down, double down and say it again. I'll say it again. Remigration, save my demographic. I don't care if you think I'm a parasite. I'll tell you what I think is a parasite. I think foreign influence over our country is a parasite. I think our demographics being annihilated by ethnic minorities is a parasite. I think our native people being attacked, killed, stabbed, raped, assaulted, sexually assaulted on our streets by people that shouldn't even be here is a parasite. I think that our country losing its own identity for this idea of liberal globalist politics is a parasite. If you have to put the idea that you're something British in front of it, like black British or Indian British or any fucking British, Russian British, somebody had that earlier. You have to put something before British, then guess what? You're not British. I'll tell you why, as a British person, as a real Brit, I don't have to define myself as a white Brit or an English Brit. I'm just a Brit. I'm British. I'm English. I don't have to define myself. If you have to define yourself, you don't belong here. If you have to define yourself, you're not part of the tribe. Sorry. Sorry you don't like to hear that. Sorry that upsets you. Sorry that you really want to LARP with my identity. But we're not the same. I can't claim myself to be Indian. I can't claim myself to be Pakistani or Russian or French or even American. I can't claim myself to be any of these people because I'm British. I don't have to make adjustments to the title of what my label is to suit my needs. It goes back to the whole thing of like, I'm an African American. You're an American or you're not. I'm a black Brit. You're a Brit or you're not. I go in, I'm a white Chinese. It might work with my name, actually. Hugh. Oh, my name is Hugh. You know what I mean? White Chinese. Imagine I literally sat there and I went, I am white Chinese. They'd be like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you saying, man? You're white Chinese? No, you're not. You're just a white guy. They'd be like, excuse me? How the fuck are you white Chinese? That doesn't make any sense. So when I go, no, you're not black British. You're just black. You're African. They're like, ugh! But you are. Even the news thinks that you are. In Huntington, where a 32-year-old and a 35-year-old were arrested, the 35-year-old was let go. He was let go. No further action. He's not involved. But the 32-year-old male, they hid his ethnicity and description of the guy on social media again. And every time they do that, that's because it's a minority, by the way. Get used to it. They do this every single time. Southport, Huntington, every single time they hide the ethnicity of the person is because it's a minority. It's because it's a foreigner. And they go, this black British national. If I was to be on the news, they would never refer to me as a white British national. They just call me a British man or an Englishman. They only do that when it's somebody that's not of these isles. This man attacked 11 people, by the way. One of them is in critical condition. He's a train worker that was stabbed multiple times, shielding other people from being stabbed. You want to call me the radical, you want to call me the extremist, you want to call me the fucking Nazi and the fascist and all of that. Because I say we need to start thinking about the people that are in this country. We need to start thinking about our demographics. We need to start thinking about the idea that this cultural divide is not just based on a lack of integration, but it is passed down through generations. If we don't think about that, this continues to happen. If we don't think about that, we continue to have white people that are attacked in this country because they are white. Because white people are the white devils that colonized the entire world, made the world better, by the way, colonized the entire world, and it's their fault for everything going wrong. When people sit there and they go, well, it's your ancestors' fault that my people didn't have a chance. It's your ancestors' fault that my people are unsuccessful. Okay, do you want to look at sub-Saharan Africa? Where was your written language? Where were your wheels? Where were your two-story buildings? Oh, let's look at sub-Saharan Africa. We was Kangs, right? Yeah. It's just our ancestors' fault, right? Asia did pretty well. China had a massive empire. Mongolian Empire. The Islamic Empire even did pretty well. At some point, you people are going to have to stop shouting at us that are willing to talk about these things. Stop shouting at us that are willing to say maybe there are more natural factors that are playing into it. Maybe there are more realistic reasons why there is a divide between people. Race is a social construct. Yeah, I'm sure it is. In your fucking head. It's a social construct until you need bone marrow, right? Or a blood transfusion. It's a social construct until it becomes medical. Then, well, actually, that's what we're working at. But it's a social construct, right? You point out, for example, the IQ levels in Africa, and they go, well, that's socioeconomic factors. Uh-huh. Was it always socioeconomic factors? Can we just get real? It's not a prejudice or a hatred against people, but it's an understanding and an ability to recognize that there are differences. In fact, I think this is a great, if it is socioeconomic factors, I think that's a great argument for remigration. Think about it like this. If these people have been brought up in Western society, like the United Kingdom, like America, like France, Germany, whatever, any Western country, they've got our access to our education, our technology, our internet. They're raised more civilized. They're raised more intelligent. Do you not think their homeland would want them back? Let's say we say to Nigeria, we're going to offer you Kemi Badenoch and every single Nigerian back to your homeland. And then they're like, well, we don't want them here. We're like, well, hold on a minute. They've been raised in a first world country. They have our education levels. They have our skills. They are civilized and democratized the way that we are here. We'll give you all your people back with the skills that they have from our society to help build up your society. Do you not think a lot of the underdeveloped countries would want that? Pakistan, you don't think it would want the millions of Pakistani men and women and children in Western society that have been raised with our values and cultures and traditions that are now more advanced to be able to build a more modern day country? I think they'd want them back. I think they'd want that skill. They'd want that labor back. To have that skill and that labor back means that their country then has the ability to advance. But people say to me, Noki, that's unrealistic. They wouldn't want that. We gotta just take care of everybody else, right? Let's keep giving Africa loads of water. Let's keep giving them loads of water so they can pump out more children. And then when they have too much of an overpopulation, their survivability rate is continuing to go down. When they're continuing to spread disease within one another, and they have to then migrate outwards, they illegally migrate outwards into Europe, and they go into the Middle East, they go into Europe, they go into Spain, they get the boats over to the UK. We get high levels of refugees here because the Africa is wonderfully corrupt. As David Cameron put it, it's wonderfully corrupt. And there's so much crime and corruption there that they've all got the money, and the money all stays at the very top. And they're a very rich country with a lot of minerals on them. Look at Botswana, has a lot of minerals, diamonds, diamond mine, used it to its advantage. Yes, it is severely handed by Israel and China and all of those, but it used its materials and its actual society increased. The rest of it, they don't use their minerals. They don't use their materials. They sit on it and then they complain about it because their politicians are corrupt. They get given money and they just use it for themselves. If you like it or not, I can recognize the difference between an African and a European, an African and an Asian, a European and an Asian. Is it bad to say that? Well, it's the fucking truth. So then we see these attacks happen frequently in our country, and we saw another one last time at Huntingdon on the way to London. And a man, 32-year-old, black British-born national, stabbed 11 people, critically injured one of them, and he is being arrested. He was tasered and arrested. And we just go, oh, well, just another one, right? Oh, just another random attack. Socioeconomic factors. And it pisses me off, right? Because, again, those 11 people that were stabbed, one with life-changing injuries, if not death, potentially, wouldn't have needed to happen if we just had immigration policy that prevented these people from being here in the first place. If we just had immigration policy that allowed us to protect our native people. How many more attacks are you going to want to have until you go, well, hold on a minute. Maybe there is an issue. But the white people in the country commit crime as well. Let's look at per capita, shall we? I've said this before. It's a fact. It's by the Home Office. 71% more likely to be convicted of a sexual offence than a native white Brit. All foreigners. There are 66 different nationalities that are more likely to be convicted of a violent crime than a native white Brit. You want to sit there and tell me straight up, we just got to make them integrate, right? We got to just keep ignoring it. It's fine. Hugh, your race is bigger. Even though your exact standpoint that you say every single fucking time is, I love everybody. Everybody was created their own way. God created people the way that He created them, but He also created us within a nation. So you should have just stayed in your nation. And I think everyone should go back to their nations for the long prosperity of the world. And everyone goes, Hugh, you're a racist. Uh-huh. How many more? And this is why I say that as much as people want to shout at me and attack me and say Hugh's a fucking crazy guy, Hugh's this far right grifter, no one likes him, blah blah blah. We're gonna get to a point in our politics where people aren't going to ignore it. We're gonna get to a point in our politics where people are going to start to go, well, hold on a minute. I don't want my kids growing up in this country which doesn't like them based on the fact that they're a white guy in this country, because we have this long-term vendetta passed down through an ethnic heritage against our people. Because again, white society, it's built for the white people, by the white people. We invite large swarms of immigrants over here. They can't fully fit into our society because we're different. There's different cultures, there's different factors that go into it, different religious beliefs that go into it. They can't fully integrate into it because that's just, culture is downstream from race and ethnicity. That's just the way it is, if you like it or not. And then we get surprised when they're raised up in the bad areas because, again, they're a guest here. It wasn't built for them, so they've had to come join in as low skilled labor. Most of them have to join in as low skilled labor. Look it up; it's true. I think about 70% of legal migrants are swept up into low skilled labor. So they get swept up into this low skill. They're working shit jobs. They're not getting enough money to be able to raise a family. They're living in the bad areas. They're bringing up kids. The kids are living in those bad areas. We're creating a bigger class divide because, yes, the people that are richer in our society do happen to be white people because, again, it was a society built for white people. I mean, don't get me wrong. You have some rich black families. You have a lot of rich Jewish families as well. You've got some really rich Asian families. And the more that we enter into a globalist economic system, you see a lot more of foreign rich people come in, but then the middle class gets stretched out, and the middle class becomes, from going people that were earning a wage to be able to have one parent looking after an entire family. Now it's both parents that can look after a family. It used to be the higher end of the working class. Now the higher end of the working class has been put into the middle class because we've imported so many people that have now been shoved below the poverty line, because the way that wages work in the modern age, the way that wages are, is a company, especially a big company, which is what these people get shoved up into, they will hire these people on the lowest wage that they can pay you, which is minimum wage, without you having to quit. It's modern day slave labor, and we're importing millions of people over, which majority get shoved into these areas, into these sectors, and they end up working bad jobs, can't afford, shoved below the poverty line. The class gets reworked, so the top earners in the working class are now middle class. More class divide. Middle class gets swapped out by the native white people that were already here and have had families for generations, which were the working class. And now the large amounts of immigrants that have come over from our bad immigration system are now the working class. They raise their kids. Their kids don't like the society they're being raised into. They look up to the people above them, which happen to be white people, because, again, that's how our society was created. They look up to it. They have a vendetta against it. We see, white people ruin the world. Colonization, even though only about 30% of the entire UK population at max had any form of connection to the empire throughout its entire span, 70% of us were not involved. In fact, we were stuck here working as slave labor. for big industrial companies. So you get all these people that grow up, they go, fuck white people, they ruin the world, colonization, Britain is the fault of everything. Our history classes teach us about the British Empire. It's our fault, the famines. We stole all this wealth. The museums is full of our wealth. We're living in poverty. And what they're not realizing is, hey, we are technically the same. The only difference is you joined the society after us and the society was built for us, but we are technically in the same bracket against the people at the very top employing this immigration policy, right? Employing this immigration policy. Who's at the top putting the immigration policy forwards? The multimillionaire companies that need the cheap slave labor. They import all these people, they lobby for better immigration policy. They bought the immigration policy imports millions of people a year. They sweep it up into the 70% of what goes into low skilled labor. The poverty line gets shrunk even further down. Modern day wages are just slavery, really. I've gone full blown tanky. It's the USSR hat. I am Yusuf Stalin. How do we deal with the top 1%, guys? We play Black Ops Zombies. Hey, Bill Gates, it's wave 50. Look what I just got out the mystery box. Not eating the rich anymore. We're playing Black Ops Zombies with the rich. Stop importing millions of foreigners into my country for your economic output, Jeff Bezos. Stop importing millions of Somalians and Indians and Pakistanis and Africans in general and Eastern Europeans for your cheap labor. Stop importing the entire third world into my country for your cheap labor. Your economic factors may be going up for a company, but for my country, it's going down. GDP per capita, down. Crime in this country, up. Social divide, crashing. Racial divisions, going out of the roof. Jeff Bezos, this is wave 50, right? Don't try me. The tankies probably agree with that because they say, yeah, well, it's the top 1%. It's the capitalist society where it puts a lot of people to the top that's ruining our wages and all of that. And I agree. What they don't realize is the social factors as well. They like to ignore that. They think, hey, humanity lives as one whole. There is no difference between us. It's this idea of breaking down social barriers. Racial groups don't exist. Ethnic groups don't exist. Gender roles don't exist. Everyone's the same. To each their needs, as Karl Marx would say, right? But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And this is what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to get at. And we don't know the motive behind the Huntington stabbing, but what I do know is that didn't need to happen. What I do know is that never needed to happen. What I do know is that if we didn't have immigration policy that allowed millions of people in, that wouldn't have happened in the fucking first place. What I do know is you do see an uptick in racial hatred towards white people in this country because of the way that our system is. When we are putting the poverty line to be the low skilled labor that we put into this country, predominantly, no wonder they have an issue with the people that are slightly above them. No wonder there are class divides. Class divides are real. People don't like to say it like, no, it's not a class war. It is a class war as well, but it's a class war orchestrated by immigration policy, a class war orchestrated by the banking systems, by these divides. I've already told you, you can be as rich as you want in this society, right? Unless you are working for the elite, for the fucking demonic, baby killing, satanic, Bohemian Grove, globalist, New World Order demons. Unless you're working for them, you are still just a pawn in the system. Your wealth is used as a factor to keep people down. That's how the banking system works. Hey, let's increase taxes again, right? Let's spend more national debt. Let's spend more of the country's money, put us in more national debt, and then increase taxes to pay off the national debt. We're never going to pay off the national debt. Yeah, that's the way our system's created. Our system is created that way because if you can create divides in society, be it racial and whatnot, who is it harming the most? Well, it's harming. I'm getting rid of that. Well, it's harming the native people. which at this point happen to be the white people of this country, because we are the white people of this country. The first world was created by white Europeans, if you like it or not. The people at the top would like to remove the first world's power. To do that, they must remove the native populations that built that land. But this is the issue. We can see one side, they can see the other side, and I'm telling you straight up, I'm like, look, we're stepping away from this system. Yes, it is the elites. But if you want to blame the elites, we have to also put labels on the elites and labels on their plans. Humanity is not just this spiritual entity where everyone is the same in a fucking idea of consciousness. It's not that fucking retarded. Humanity works through a natural diversion and segregation of one another. With you, people migrated all throughout history. Yeah, people weren't getting a fucking jet and a passport to come and live down your street. Your entire street turns into the third world, were they? Christopher Columbus didn't get on a fucking Boeing 762 and fly over to America first class, eating a cottage pie with a can of Coke to get a passport and go, hey, this is mine. It was conquer. It was different. It was conquer. It wasn't legal in migration, was it? It wasn't cultural erosion through cultural Marxism. I say that while wearing this fucking hat. It's funny as fuck, right? It wasn't any of those things. These things have been implemented into Western society because if you can bring down the Western society structure, you can then have global control over these things. You've got to look further than just about what's happening now on the streets. Crime is going to continue to happen because these people can't integrate into our society anyway. We already know that. That's an obvious factor. But let's look a little bit further. Digital ID. Why would they want to bring that in? Have complete control, state control over the people here. Okay, so now we can monitor everybody here. We've already got a declining population of the native people here. We already have this idea like the World Economic Forum 2030, where private property doesn't exist and it's all owned by government global bodies. Depopulation of the native population, which stands up and fights for the values of that nation because we have ancestral ties, its blood and soil, means that it's easier to control the new population that does not have the ties to that country, which means they can put in policy and regulations to kill off the public and replace it with a highly efficient, effective slavery population. The global takeover and the mass control of our populations, you got to recognize your people. You recognize your people, you recognize it through ethnicity, you recognize it through race, you recognize your tribe, you recognize your collective. You advocate for the world to be split within our groups, but work together diplomatically. They want us to be together because if we're together, we don't work together. That's the issue. We work in groups with each other, but not working as one each other. You got to start looking at putting people back to where they came from, putting the world back to its natural order, working diplomatically, start looking at who's controlling the top with the elites and the big business and the demonic and the fucking Satanists, these weird baby-killing freaks. You start looking further and you'll realize the entire plan of the world is to mix it all up and fuck it around. Because if they can mix it all up and fuck it around, then there's nothing to try and protect anymore. If we lose our ethnicity, we lose our racial groups, we lose our heritage, we lose our nations, what are we defending anymore? The interests of those at the top. We're defending economic interests, all controlled by the people at the top. We're just defending their idea of what life should be. This is why I said, and somebody was like, Hugh, you sound like a full-blown communist. I said, money is fake, people are real. Well, money is fake, people are real. Money's a system. You want to defend something, defend your people. You want to defend something, defend your image. Realize that we can't work together, and that is the point. They want us to be together and distract us with these angers together because they know that it ends badly. They know that these divides allow them to put in policy like fucking digital ID. You want to work for a future, work for your tribe. Work for your tribe, work for your people, work for your nation. Without nations, without a national identity, you have nothing. You're just a cog in a big globalist system pushing forward this idea that there is no identity, there is no borders, there is no sex, there is no nothing. You are nothing more than a figure. You are a figure. No, I refuse that. I'm a white, native, male British man that is here because my family and my ancestors fought for hundreds and thousands of years to secure an existence of my people in this land which they had built on their idea. I will not have that taken away from me by a globalist structure that seeks to remove all form of identity to replace it with monetary value. Get real and realize all of these factors come back to the same idea that they don't like you and they don't want you here. They will replace you with life that they view as lesser, because to view it as lesser means that it's easier to control. So, no, I'm not surprised at the Huntington thing. Again, this is just another factor of importing people that will never get on with the same, because we're different fundamentally. Lol, you're abandoned by your family. Lol, you suck. I'm like, this is going to happen a lot more, right? This is going to happen a lot more, especially as more like younger people like my age become more based and red pilled with these things, and that we have like the awakening of like our political understanding. The more that happens, is going to have more kids that grow up with stronger political ideological views than their parents, because we're growing up in a society that's fucking disastrous. It's disastrous because we're experiencing it. So you're going to have a lot more people that grow up and they see the society they're living in, they reject it. They go, no, I don't want this. I want it to be different. So there's going to be a lot more tension. There's going to be a lot more people like me that have that opinion. A lot more people that when I do this show, the point of doing this show is to spread my message. I know there are a lot of young people that watch my show and they'll watch it and they'll be like, actually, no, I agree with what you're saying. I witnessed that. I'm seeing that these things, right? That's going to happen more. You're going to have parents at odds with their kids' ideology because, yes, we maybe are more radical compared to them, but we're living in a more radical time. It's not an uncommon thing. You're going to see this happen a lot. Let me comment on what happened in Piccadilly. So, Cozzy, big love to Cozzy. He was attacked by these two people. I think it was some gay guy or a tranny and some drag queen or something like that. They were being confronted by a group of migrants, and because he tried to like step in and help, and the drag queen threw the drink on them, right? And then Cosy was like, "What the fuck?" And then it got into a bit of like a fight there. The gay guy and the tranny started getting attacked by the migrants and whatnot, and they started punching Cosy and dragging Cosy around and whatnot. And I was thinking, Cossy's not like that, right? What the fuck happened to Cosy? I actually texted him last night and I was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry. I just got attacked because I was trying to help." He was trying to help because he's a good man. He's trying to help. They would just smack him in the face and stuff, and he was just trying to get them off him and defend himself. I just think it's a horrible situation. I think again, it just shows another factor that you get people that are imported into a more liberal society. They're not liberal in themselves because their ideology is a lot more conservative, because a lot of the third world is more conservative. Don't get me wrong, I think that our liberal values have destroyed us, right? Remigration is inevitable. It's inevitable. Again, this is what I keep saying. The more that people wake up, younger people wake up my age, and they see the issues at hand, they see the effects of mass migration on a social level, not an economic level, because economics is ignore it. Think about the social level. They see the issues on a social level. They're going to reject it because it affects them directly. Remigration will become mainstream. I already said this. I said I will be vindicated on all of my beliefs in about 5-10 years time, because what I'm saying now is unpopular as of right now, because the younger generation is not in politics as of now. They're getting more political, and as they get more political, especially the young men are gonna become more traditionalist. So it is going to change, and people are going to start seeing my politics more, and they are going to start understanding where I'm coming from, and they are going to start rejecting this global system of mass migration and cultural divide and racial integration and all of that, which doesn't work. Remigration will become mainstream. I will be vindicated eventually. I'm not even that asked. Like, as much as I receive attacks from people, I literally don't care what people say. I couldn't give a shit. I know that eventually, when it comes round to it, people are going to look back and go, okay, he was saying what he meant to say. For my generation, though, like, I'm ahead for my generation. To ensure, explain why your parents crashed out, I think that Britain should remain majority white native. Thoughts on Paul Golding? I've met him in person. He's becoming more based. He's saying more based things. Deport you. Where do you want to deport me to, Jake? How many more people on that train now believe in remigration? The more it happens, the more people will get radicalized. You can't do anything about it. It's just the way that it is. Thoughts on Steve Laws and Zoom Historian? I think they're good people. I think that they are. The thing is, look, you've got to understand. Everybody has their role to play in the nationalist idea, right? Steve Laws is like the top ethno-nat boss. He's like the number one ethno-nationalist boss, like total remigration, get them out. Zoom are the same. Zoom is more like it talks about history and like goes over like trying to redefine history. That role is to drag certain people, but push a narrative further. Most of our roles is to be like the middle ground between the moderate position, the extreme position. Then you've got like the radical position. That's most of the middle ground. Thoughts on Charlie? I don't mind Charlie as a person. I know Charlie. I disagree with him on Israel, but apart from that, I think he's a fine guy. I also disagree with him on the idea that 9/11 wasn't an inside job. I do think it probably was. I'm Croatian. I live in London. What remigration starts airline would you put me on? Don't like Ryanair. Well, you can get on our little remigration plane. Ignore the homeland thing. But you can get on our remigration plane. It actually has 2 floors, so you can just fit more of you on. It will go off. We'll send them off every 3 hours. No, every hour. Every hour. I'll personally put you second floor. We'll say about here. No, I did not delete my Yerby interview. It should be there. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Look, I'm gonna keep going. Ethno-nat last final boss. Well, this is what somebody said, right? Somebody was like, Hugh, how do you just like not quit? If you quit, what do you prove? You just prove you're a fucking loser. I don't care about people going like, oh, you got kicked out, lol. Okay, cool. I got kicked out, and within less than 24 hours, not only did I have a place to stay, I did a fucking live show. I don't quit because I care enough to keep talking. I care enough to keep saying things. I'll just keep going. Even if like I have to leave here and I go somewhere else. Well, the thing is, people going like, lol, you're homeless. Well, clearly not. I'm already looking at a flat viewing, which I should hopefully be able to move into before Christmas. So I'm literally going to be fine. Get a job, get a job. I get paid from doing this. Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate it. Jason, your viewage right now, you are paying for like a packet of Haribos. W Jason, guys. W Jason for the packet of Haribos. What if my roommate is a migrant? Well, I know my roommate. That's going to be my roommate, and I've known him for 12 years, so I don't think he is. Actually, no, he has a little bit too much French in him. How do we deal with my French roommate? How do we deal with my French roommate? Oui, baguette. Oi, Frenchoid. You're going to need a revive, Frenchie. Listen, we might be European. The English-French divide doesn't end yet. Wave the white flag, comrade. I love this fucking thing. I think this is so base, right? Truly the supreme race right here. True. And vril maxing. £2 on a scratch, mate. Thank you for the £2 from the scratch card. I will go buy a scratch card with that and then double it or pass it to the next person. I know the guy that I'm going to be moving into a flat with. Like, I appreciate everyone's support. It really helps. Jesus was the original anti-Semite. Bro, people forget that Jesus was literally fucking like murdered. Also, can I just point out the amount of people that call me like a hope not hate plant or like a Fed? People like Hugh's just a Fed. Hugh's clear like an industry plant. Well, okay. I'm just here to provide memes. That's it. I'm an industry plant. I am hope not hate. That's why I am the revolutionary communist, and I'm here to bring back the USSR, the USSR. I think that works. Everyone's like, Hugh's a Fed. Hugh's here to disrupt the message and whatnot. I'm just like, sure. Press charges on your father. I will not be pressing charges. I still believe in honoring my parents. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining tonight. I'm moving back live tomorrow. I'll let you know what's going on. Please take care of yourselves. Don't get on trains at the minute, especially not in the Cambridge area, because look, the more this happens, the more people wake up to remigration. It's going to happen. Okay? It's going to happen. I'm going to continue to wear this shirt, which is backwards. It says, I'm not a terrorist. I'm just a bearded man. You can find me on X at the Hugh Anthony. You can like, subscribe, hit the notification bell here. If you want to support me, there is a PayPal link on my X to go send me donations so I can keep trotting on and keep the show going. And hopefully I'll be moving into a flat soon. We'll get an office back working, an actual office with an actual microphone, so I'm not running off of this. We'll get an actual office going so I can actually give you like the high quality shit again, where like we're fucking ranting and raving and we're going off and we're talking about the news and everything. In the meantime, take care of yourself. God bless you all. Say a prayer for yourselves. Say a prayer for the world around you. It's crazy, crazy world. Crazy, crazy world. And prioritize Britain. Always prioritize Britain. I'll be back later on. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care of yourself.